It's that time of the year where I have to pretend like I'm still good at Vanguard. I'll be headed down to Duluth at the beginning of December for BCS, where I'll be playing Standard Day 1, and actually that one's happening right about now, so if you're in Duluth at the BCS, come check it. So welcome back to Blind Builds, where we blindly build all over the... Haven't done that one in a while. Where today, I'm going to be diving into a deck that I probably should have covered here on the channel, like, half a year ago by now. But I'm actually kind of interested in it because of the triple rare reprints coming out, and it is the deck getting supported in set 13 in just a few weeks. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we're finally covering Youthberk. That said, this, of course, will be a set 12 build, the basic build, just because Deck Builder hasn't been updated with the new stuff yet. So if you guys do want to see the true Berg when Omni form, the Blaster, Cross Ride, whatever he's called, drops, be sure to subscribe if you're new to see that go live, because I will probably cover it in a couple weeks. Until then, let's take a look at the basics. Alright, Keter Sanctuary can't be too bad. Oh my god, this goes on forever. Hey look, it's your boy Graham Grace. So before we can talk about all of his different support, let's look at the main card himself. Youthberk is going to have two different skills. First of all, this is shared with his trial deck variation in that at the end of the battle that it attacks, choose up to one card with Revolve form in its name from your hand and write it as stand, and that card gets -2 drive. This is how you're going to be able to get 2 Vanguard attacks in the deck, even though the second one won't have drive checks. For now. Then with his other ability, once per turn you're able to discard one card from hand, check your top 3, choose up to one card that has Rebel form in its card name from among them, reveal it, and add to your hand, or choose a grade 2 or less to call. Then put the rest at the bottom deck in any order. So you do want to obviously go for a Rebel form here to get access to your first skill. However, it is nice in diversity that you're able to call cards from your deck as well. Then, you don't stack without shuffling. So this is a really weird Tsukiyomi that allows for 4 attacks. Let's look at Revolve forms. Alright, so your boy has 3 different forms now. I say 3 because, of course, next set he is getting that new one, which is going to be the super awesome finisher. Don't worry about it, we'll talk about that later. So going from the starter deck 1 to the fancy ones, you got Gust, who's going to give you a +15, and if you Persona Road, +1 crits. You got Gust. Wait, who are you? What's your name? Zest. This one, Gust. If your opponent's grade 3 or greater, he gets +10 and +1 drive for discard, so it gives you a 3rd drive check for the turn. And the one that tempted me to build this deck for a while, except I haven't touched this deck because don't worry about it, I'm not going to build this deck, except now I might going to build this deck. Tempestal, whose skill is to counterblast 1, reveal the top 2, choose one of your opponent's rear guards per grade equaling the real grade's cards, and put those cards at the bottom of the deck. Then the rest get out to your hand. So effectively this is a non-drive checking drive check because you +2 to your hand regardless, and if you get lucky you're going to be able to send some cards back to bottom of the deck. Just like Gear Chronicle. I think that Youthberk has a couple of effects that also do this to bottom deck cards. I know Keter does in general, like ever since D started, Keter's just been stealing Gear Chronicle's gimmick of returning cards to bottom deck. Then, of course, all these boys have the same skill that after they're done attacking, it goes to Soul, and you go back to normal Youthberk. So, do you have to go into anything? It has to be Revolve. Okay. You can't just cheat into one. That would be so funny if you just cheat into another format in a turn. Like, right into Gust, get your drive check, then end phase, go into Tempest, and retire stuff. I mean, obviously, it doesn't work that way, but... Alright, let's take a look at support. As I scroll through these, I'm going to go ahead and do the little shill. If you like this channel, make sure to support us. TCG Player, Code Scourge on Raise Energy. Y'all know the drill. Helps me to help you to look. This dragon, he looks cool. Alright, Ride Line. When you ride over it, you get to Soul Blast 1, look at some cards, get a Youthberk or a grade 2. Cool, then you bomb deck stuff. Where is the grade 2 Youthberk? That's so weird, he wasn't in the Youthberk support. Unless right over by a thing, count blast 1, choose grade 2 from your drop and put it into hand. So effectively your ride chain is going to be able to search you a card, and then grab a card from your drop set, which means the grade 3 in drop is not bad as a target. So I want to go over these 2 cards next, just because they are also getting reprinted in the thingy thing. So if you pick up a Keter set, like I'm probably going to do if I build this deck, you will have access to these cards. So we got the Witch, who was also reprinted recently in set 12, I'll say? Set 12, set 11, one of the recent sets as a box topper. You have easy access to them. 2 skills, if you have Youthberk, it's +2, so it's a 10k. And then more importantly, when you place on Vanguard by Rebel form, you could put this in Soul, choose the Vanguard, and give it a drive check. This is important because the drive equaling 1 means that your Gust is going to be able to give you a twin drive. Effectively, you go her first, set your drive to 1, then Gust activates, discard, gain a drive check, suddenly you have twin drive. So this is how you get drive checks off of your restands, and choose a 10k booster in case that matters. I mean, we'll see how the deck functions. Then the other great one is not Youthberk directly support. She is a thing though. Her name's like Angel something, right? Her name's Angel something. You've got to be an angel. Honestly, I'm surprised this girl didn't show up. I've seen a lot of Youthberk players basically run it because it counts as a free 10k booster, I guess. I don't know. There she is. Alright, Anunculate. This is the card that says when your Vanguard is placed by riding from grade 3, Soul Blast 1, retire this, countercharge 1, your Vanguard gets +5. So effectively, this is going to be able to give you countercharge for when those resources matter. It is going to eat Soul, unfortunately, but it does also give your Vanguard a +5, so you'll be getting a little more power in the restand, and you also get a resource back. This card is amazing. I'm currently running it in Graham Grace. Be sure to check out my Graham Grace video up there because I'm sure, I don't know if it's in the build I showed up there, but it should be. Alright, let's look at a few other bonk boys. I don't think we run this dragon, but he looks cool. When it's discarded, if you have a Youthberk, Counter Blast 1, choose something, put bomb back. This is another Gear Chronicle. I don't think it's going to go in the build, just because you're probably going to run a bunch of grade 3s for all the Rebel forms. But I might have to do a janky Youthberk Gear Chronicle deck at some point in time. Not in this vid, leave like 10 likes I think, and we'll do a janky Youthberk build based around this card. Beard Day is just your cute little 10k card. Got Schneasel, he's a Sneasel. Once placed, Counter Blast 1, look your top 5, look for Youthberk at the hand, and he gets +5. Okay, cool, so we can search her. Then, when he attacks the Vanguard, if your Vanguard has been placed this turn by riding for grade 3, choose the Vanguard, give it +5. That's some weird phrasing. So I think like how this reads is you want him to attack after you've Rebel Dressed. Just because this won't activate until you've ridden a grade 3 over a grade 3. Your attack pattern is going to be weird. You'll be looking at Van, Schneasel, Van, Rearguard, I guess, for your 4 attacks. I feel like you get 4 attacks either way, you just have to change it up based on situation. And that can't be all. I know that can't be all. Where's the card I want to talk about? Alright, this is the other half of the reason I want to build a Rebel form deck, just because, look at this Garmore boy. So, the Doggo of Truth. 2 skills. First of all, front row, when placed on Vanguard, when a unit's placed on Vanguard, there we go. With Rebel form, when you Rebel Dress, let's just say when you Rebel Dress. Choose one of your Vanguards, give it +5. Okay, so it gives you a nice little Vanguard booster free. Then, when it attacks a grade 3 or greater, Soul Blast 1 card with Rebel Foreigner's name and gets +10. Interesting. I'm not sure if there's a way to cycle drops him back to hand, but I just had another bad idea. So this is another thing that I attack in Graham Grace sometimes. He has a really simple skill. When placed, you can Soul Blast 1, take a grade 3 from drops him, put it on top of deck. So effectively, you're going to Soul Blast Rebel form, put that Rebel form right back on top of deck. Guess what, you're drive checking. Once again, same with the Gear Chronicle looking dragon. I don't think we're running this just because it's going to be grade 3s out the wazoo, but I kind of want to make a stupid build on it. Alright, let's see if there's any other Rebel support before we build this. Built, back row center, in place, Rebel form, standing gets +10. Okay, so this is your booster. Once again, I don't know if there's going to be room just because of all the specific pieces that I think we're going to run here, but 15k restanding booster. Okay, cool, you hit numbers. And this is an order that I feel like we're not going to run, but let's highlight real quick because it does a cool thing for another card I want to talk about in the near future. Counter Blast 1, check your top 5, look for your Rebel form, put in your hand. If you don't, call it grade 2. Same thing as Youthberk, but it checks top 5 and it's the Counter Blast 1 instead of what is this cost? Discard, I guess. It's a top 5 Youthberk. And that's specific for yeah, search without Zest, and I think it's just a 10k shield. Oh, 15 shield. It's a bad version of Verde, except it's a better Verde because it gives you more shield, but it's more specific. Alright, let's put this together. Looking at these pieces, I already kind of want to phase out Anunculate. Now, I want to use her in this build so we can showcase her because she is one of the reprints, but the counter charge, while nice, I mean, look at our main units. We have one for ride line, one. And that's it. Like, that is it for our counter blasters in the deck. I mean, there's this thing that I might use, but that is it for the main deck. We have maybe 2 counter blasts a turn if we do a Schneasel and the Tempest. I'm getting out of here. Bye, Facecam. See you later. But more importantly, we do have some slow using skills like that guy and that kind of and that kind of and that kind of. That is one. So like, I don't know how our resources look on this deck, honestly. I don't know if we need the counter charger. We'll keep it in for now. But how much do you really matter? You're literally just a 10k booster? Yeah, it feels mid. Like, I know what you're here for. You're here for a plus off of this guy. I mean, Kitty Cat exists now. And maybe this, we'll find out in a second. Then the other thing we gotta do is figure our triggers. I think, first of all, this is definitely the over trigger when we're gonna run this deck. I started looking at the generic ones between like the Keter giving everything drive checks, red giving you extra crit and letting someone restand or whatever for 5th attack. This feels more important to me. Like, I don't know how much we're gonna be soul blasting. Like I said, soul's weird, but this feels important to me because that way you're able to like soul blast a rebel form, or if you had to like discard something for a perfect guard or something like that, you're able to get a piece back and then use this piece to do piece things. So I feel like this is the one we're going with in this build. Could be wrong. Keter one also exists. Fronts versus draws. Obviously, we're maxing out crits here, but I feel like my gut feeling is telling me go fronts, simply because this is a 4-attack deck. We'll see how we look on draws though. We might have to take this in for that, but for now we're saying fronts. So you search, you search, you search. You just draw cards. Twin drive. I'm gonna do this. Goodbye. We're actually really close without doing anything. 49 already. Nice. I think I like 3, 3, 4. Could take you out. Honestly, this is in here just to show it off and just because you can use it maybe as a finisher. Persona Rise and be a +10 automatically. So 13, 23, 33, 38 with a crit for free is not bad. But yeah, we keep it as one of. That goes in the soul. That makes a board. We can only use 2 of it. So that goes goodbye. So maybe not you. This is my cute tech. This is my thought process. Might go into another version of the build. We'll find out. But basically, we ignore the first effect. But when a rear guard is placed in front of it, you get to draw cards. So draw engine. Don't think it's gonna be run here because I'm gonna eliminate it for other cards, but is good. That's one Blaster Blade. So I think this is the finished version of the deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at everything we're running. Of course, the ride line is the same as usual. Don't worry about it. You just soul blast 1, look at top 3, get a thing. Then you counter blast 1 and get one of these guys back because you're probably going to ditch them for your ride line. Main dude lets you search. That lets you search. That's 2 cards right here are going to be a skill to let you search a card. And then beyond that, this also kind of lets you search because I haven't talked about the kitty cats yet. The Keter kitty cat says that you can check your top 5, look for a unit that's equal to less than your Vanguard, and call it to rear guard, then shuffle your deck. If it's not your main phase, nap time it. You're going to calls during the main phase. You don't really have anything that's pure calls during battle phase. I do have 2 in this in here because once you're done with your ride line, it doesn't matter, assuming you're able to persona ride one of these guys ever. And then for our beaters, we're running 3 Garmore Boy, who's going to be able to buff his Vanguard and be a big swing on his own, thus getting over numbers. Schneisel also doubles up on that a little bit, giving himself and the Vanguard +5. This thing buffs your front row. I didn't mention that before. He buffs your front row by +5. Mini persona ride when you ride him. And of course, each of the youths get strong on their own, so you should be getting over triggers pretty easily. Then of course we do want to show off these 2 cards. Like I said, I'm not sure how I feel about Inoculate, because you don't honestly kind of blast that much, but does also buff up your Vanguard, which is nice. And of course, this is going to give you drive checks, which is why we are of course maxing her out. Gives us 12 threes, which makes you maybe want to think about running Keter Overtrigger. We'll see how draws look. I feel like you can early game because of Schneisel, but you might not want to. So like you could run Keter over this. Keter gives your whole field drive checks if you did not know that. It's fantastic for a multi-attacking deck like this, but I'm going to have to test it out to see how much it decks itself before I go back to that. I like this one a lot better. 7 grade 2s isn't that much, but I mean they're the only ones we really need unless you do want to run one of the shield boys. 14 grade 1s, basically your PGs. We are of course running that in case grade 4s ever matter. And we got Searchy Boy and the girls. And, you know, triggers. 8 crits, 3 fronts, good over trigger, 4 heals. So you can switch these up a little bit, do like a 4 and 7 or something like that. I don't know. Just I feel like you want 1 more crits. Crits give you threatening auras. Fronts help you out for multi-attacking decks. And of course this one does have more shield, so it's a 20k shield, which is also something the cat does. Hello everybody. So that is Youthberk version 1.0. Of course this is blind builds, which means these are our first impression builds. I have of course faced the deck many times at various places, but like I haven't actually built it myself, so as far as I'm concerned, this is phase 1. Like I said up top, if you guys are interested in seeing the set 13 stuff that comes out in a couple weeks as of recording this, make sure to subscribe. I also have a bunch of stuff coming up pretty soon, including tournament report from BCS, a couple coaster vids, and I really want to talk about the deck that's probably going to be revealed by the time this video goes live. in Dragon Empires, new blacksmith dude. I'm interested. Until then, thank you guys for watching, and always embrace the infinite. In day 2, I might play Premium, but let's be real here, I'm probably just gonna scrub out and go play Shadowverse or hang out at Six Flags. Then, at the end of January, back down to Florida for the Kingslayer Games Championship finale season thing for last year's circuits. Check the link above to see how I qualified. Feel free to say hi, we can do some card fights, some videos, maybe, I don't know, whatever you cool kids want to do. But until then, on to the show. Putting my hood on cause it's cold outside.